Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana, how are you?
I'm doing good. It was so good for us to be together finally last week.
Yes, and I'm craving those cronuts that we had. I said, thank God they're not in Texas, but I wonder if they ship.
Five Daughters Donuts is what it's called, and they are amazing. So if you are listening in Nashville or Seaside, Florida, run. You might want to run away.
Yeah. I mean, literally run to the donut store and get their donuts. I thought I'd tasted some of the best donuts. This was truly the best.
They're the best. I told Heather though, I got on the scale this morning and I was like, I've got to get a grip. I ate all last week. All I did was eat.
And, I don't know how. I think it's from this acupuncturist I keep going to, but I actually lost 2 pounds. Tell me how I did that. But I think it's this thing called NAET that my acupuncturist has been doing, where
What's
you
that?
go in. I actually went to her for stress because I was totally stressed out when Jimmy wasn't feeling well. I just didn't handle it well because, I couldn't control anything. I couldn't fix anything, all of those things. So you go to her and she gives you a vial. And all the there's like, I don't know how many of them, 10 or 12. And I don't know how many, but they represent they are like sugar or yeast or vitamin B. And whatever the one she's doing that time, you can't have it for 24 or 25 hours.
Oh.
And supposedly if you have any allergies or you respond to it after this treatment, you don't. And I swear something is clicking. So I don't know if it's actually working or not, but I think it is.
What's it called?
It's called, I think it's NAET. Look it up. It's,
okay.
It's more, what are we? Are we Western or Eastern? We're Western, right? Are we Western? Okay, I think we're Western medicine. This is Eastern medicine. We are awful. But anyway, it's whatever that kind of medicine is. That's not our kind of medicine. They do a lot of herbs and plant-based stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's Western. Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, whatever. One of those places, medicine. But anyway, so it's been working, but I think it's NAET is what it's called. You can look it up.
Well, I was just talking with Ethan, our friend Ethan from the Indiana office, and we were just talking about acupuncture today. And he got it. And then Heather was saying that she used to get it in the back of her neck and that it was like life-changing. Oh,
it is. I'm telling you, I don't think I would have gotten through Jimmy being sick without this. It's called NAET. And, there's a lot of reviews and it just talks about it's 20 after, I guess there's up to 25 treatments, depending on what you're doing, but whatever it is, she will give you a sheet. And that day you don't eat that for 24 hours. Wow. 25 hours, 24 to 25 hours. And I really think it's worked because I went to Nashville and came home 2 pounds lighter.
I don't know how I can bear. I was a mess. Okay. So you were right. Western medicine focuses on diagnosing and treating a disease or illness based on the patient's symptoms. Eastern considers both their symptoms and an individualized diagnosis of all their other things. So I think that's like the holistic one.
Yeah, I told her when I went there, I said, look, I'm waking up at 3 a.m. and I cannot go back to sleep. So
the worst.
She did a test and it was actually my adrenals and my thyroid. So she gave me these plant-based pills and I took them. And then the next week, she can even tell, she does your arm, like your energy. And you know how they've done that, like to tell if something's true or false or whatever. But she would do that. And by that, she would be able to tell even how many pills of it I was supposed to take.
Wow.
So anyway, I like it. I really do. I'm one of those, I'll try anything. But and there's been another time in my life when acupuncture really, really helped. But then there's this other thing I want to tell you about before we get started. There's a new thing out called Zoe, ZOE, and it's a Zoe report. And how I've always said, I truly believe that everybody needs to eat specifically to them. I just don't think that there's one keto fits everybody, or paleo fits everybody, or vegetarian or vegan or whatever. It's not right for everybody. So, I've done all the tests, all the allergy testing and all that kind of stuff. Well, this one, it's real new out, and you wear a glucose monitor. They send you these little muffins, and you take these muffins, and then within so long after these muffins, you take your blood and you put it on a little drop on a little pad. And then of course you've got this glucose monitor on. And then I think they do a stool sample too. I can't remember, but they measure 3 things. What do these types of food do to your gut? What do this food do to your glucose? And what does this food do to how long does the fat stay in your blood?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, it's so cool. So I get my report back, and literally it pretty much says I shouldn't really be eating any meat. It gives you a score. So I can take my phone to the store. We need to get a code so people can get a discount, because I know they offer discounts, but anyway, we'll figure that out later. Yeah. But I can take my phone and I can put it up against something. It'll give it a number score, and you want at least a 75 or higher every day.
Like you scan the barcode on like the box of food or whatever.
Yeah. Like there's only 2 breads that get a decent score for me that I can eat. One is called an oat, a certain brand of oat bread. And the other one is this bread called Eat Me Guilt Free. And it's a protein bread, and it gets a pretty high score for me. So beans get super high scores for me. Lentils, high score. Vegetables, high score. Most meat gets a low score. So it'll tell you what you can have on a regular basis, and what you should have in moderation, and what you should have only every once in a while. It's really, really cool. So pretty much it has said I need to eat lentils and vegetables and that. So I also researched with some of his heart stuff. That's what he should eat. So as of last night, we went, we're not vegetarian and we're not vegan, because we still eat like shrimp. So whatever that is.
Pescatarian.
Yeah, pescatarian. But mostly we're going to do plant-based food, and I'm just going to give it a shot and see how I feel.
Okay. So have you ever felt bad after you eat meat? Like, can you tell?
Here's the problem. Even when I had SIBO and we had to go through all that treatment, right, I never could tell I felt bad until I felt good, because I have such a high tolerance. Like I don't know I bet I could count on one hand, maybe half a hand, the times I've ever stayed home from being sick. Well, COVID made me stay home, but other than that, I just don't, I just go anyway. So I think it's hard for me to tell. But I think how I can tell is I'm always inflamed and I can't lose weight.
Yeah. So well, I was just getting ready to say that when I did that Pinner test several years ago, and my number 1 sensitivity came back beef. And I mean, I eat steak and tacos and hamburgers and all that stuff all the time. And I would have never have thought that, but I ate no beef for 6 months, and I was like so much less bloated and just but I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like I never would have said I felt bad after I ate it, but then I felt so much better when I gave it up. But now I can eat it. It doesn't bother me as bad. I just don't need to eat it a ton. But I can't wait to do this. Like this, and I mean, Adam's going to be all over this. He's like you, like he wants to do anything like that possible.
Well, we've said several times through COVID, people are going to pay attention to 2 things. How do I get wealthier, and how do I get healthier?
Yeah, totally.
Because I think every time we turn around, we've lost someone else. And we wonder if they had been in better health, could we have, kept them around or whatever. Yeah. So anyway.
I was trying to find this to show you that you just said that, and it just made me think of something. I know we've got to talk about what we're supposed to talk about, but somebody today told me and sent me this thing. There was something in Indiana today called a forecast highlight for 2022. The Indiana University put it on, and Ethan and Amy went to it. But anyway, they told me that, I thought I took a picture of it and I can't find it, that Americans have 50% more cash in their checking accounts this year than they ever have been before. It's 50% higher than it ever has been before. And I thought
is it because government gave it to them, or they're not spending much? That's
what we were talking about today. I don't know. I think it's a combination of both. Maybe stimulus, And maybe I would originally thought because they're not spending, but then everybody's spending right now. I mean, the GDP is high. Like it seems like, so I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting. I mean, that's a big percentage increase, 50% higher.
Well, everybody I've talked to hasn't taken a trip in forever. So maybe it's trip money or
maybe they're just
money.
not spending as much, or I don't know, but I thought that was interesting.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to kind of give a little bit with the time that we have left. We're going to give a little bit about what we've learned. We'll do this over a couple sessions. We were just both at John Maxwell's event. Love John, always gain a lot. We had some great speakers.
Yeah.
So why don't you kick us off and tell us what were some of the key things or one of the key things that you learned that you like to share?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many. I know we were saying we need to have like parts 2, 3, and 4 of this. I think, well, for me, I think the overall experience, which I say this every time, but I've been teaching agents about experience and how important experience is. And this just solidified it even more. I mean, the experiences that we had, I was telling my mom this tonight, from the time that we walked in to register and we all got to go over and pick out our own free pair of cowboy boots that, were perfect size for us and so cute and all of that stuff, to getting to hear the speakers that we got to hear and then a private concert with Lady A and dinner on stage at the Grand Ole Opry and then breakfast with performance by Chris Tomlin. I mean, the experience is incredible. And I just think that one of my big ahas was, I keep talking about this, yet people care about experience more than they ever have before. And so going back into, and today I was talking to some of our leadership team, like we got to figure out even more ways to keep creating experiences like over and over and over and over, because truly that's really what it's about. And one of the things that John said was, it's so wise to bring your people to events with you, which we've talked about before, because they do good when they're in the seats next to you. They win that way. And just being able to think about the difference that experiences make, I think, is huge. So that was really my first big one. And then probably I don't know. I mean, they were all amazing. Obviously, I had a ton of ahas from John. Hearing Donald Miller, which I'll talk about that. But I loved Bill Haslam, I think that's how you say his name, who was the governor of Tennessee. And for a couple of terms, I took so much away from him. I just thought he was awesome. I cannot wait to read his book, which I just pulled it out because I wanted to read it tonight before I went to bed. But Faithful Presence. I was pumped about him. But one of the couple of things that I loved about him, and not to get political, was I love that he said, don't you feel like everybody's frustrated with politics these days, no matter what side you're on? And everybody said yes. But I just thought it was great that he said the only way, I'll quote it directly, the only way that it's going to be solved is not necessarily by the political parties and not necessarily by the media, because their business model is based on outrage. It's our best hope is if people of faith would just be who they're supposed to be. And that really kind of hit me, because I think after this crazy year, it just seems like, I don't know, politics have been nuts. But I loved also how he talked about humility. And I wrote this down when he said, always remember the other fella might actually be right. And so just being able to think about being humble. And he said, just remember, you don't have to win every argument. And the best way that you can find the best answer is to just spend time with other people and learn different points of views and then hear the best idea, because we're always going to have a constant struggle between justice and mercy in the world. But really, we just need to not pull away, but to just kind of lean in and be the salt and the light in conversations, and just know that we don't have to win every argument. So I loved hearing him. I thought it was very timely. And I just thought you could tell he was just so passionate and such a good person.
Love that one. Yeah, so true, because I think we all feel so hopeless.
Yeah.
It feels like nobody's listening to the other person.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I liked what he said, that now he says they say the government is better at fixing potholes, not hearts at this point, which was funny because me and you were like, well, they need to fix some more of these potholes here in town. But I just thought that his message was timely. I just wish that everybody could hear it, because I just think I think so many people, I don't know. I mean, Adam and I've even had family members that can't even like sit in the same room and have a conversation over it, So it's just like, man, we just need to think about that a little bit more.
And I think the common along that line, the common theme that I picked up over the overreaching view was the people I love to be around and listen to, they have good old fashioned values.
Totally. I thought the same.
You know what I mean? Like the country stars, they were raised.
Totally.
And I just said, I think what we're all starving for is those good old basic values that make us that I feel like are slipping away a little bit. Everybody's in the me society and I society, and none of these people, none of them, whether it was the songwriters, whether it was the performers, whether it was the speakers, every single one of them had kind of a humble beginning. They had good values that were passed down to them, and they used those values to guide them.
Yeah, totally.
And I felt like, man, I think more and more we're drawn to that. And I think about this all the time when I go to Branson.
Yeah.
People go to Branson because it feels a little old fashioned.
Yeah.
And I think we're all a little bit hungry for that old fashioned. Matter of fact, I've been thinking about this a lot because I'm about to do my second annual Mimi and Pop Pop camp.
Yeah.
And we're going to spend more time this time on values.
Yeah. I love
because
that.
I think there's just little kids have not intentionally not taught them, but maybe because we learned them and we just thought, I guess automatically kids would know them. But I mean, even things like saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and respecting an adult and serving others, and just those good old values that I think are super important, and they don't take away from you as who you are, but I think they're important. And I don't know. I just said, it made me, watching all those people, it made me realize I really want to work on values with my grandkids this time.
I could not agree with you more. And Adam and I talked about that too. I'm big on that. I just think you can tell when somebody, you don't want to say like was raised right. I don't know that that's the right way to say it, but I think you are spot on. It's their values. And we actually were talking about that, with Addison and Amelia, Adam's kids, and just saying it's hard now because everything is on their phone and all they do is compare to social media and all this stuff. And everybody's wearing like sports bras to go out to the mall,
Yeah.
I'm like, I would have never have been able, nor would I have wanted to walk out of the house with my belly button showing. Like, it's just not happening. But it's like I don't know. It's just so different. And so I told Adam it's hard, but like I keep reminding him and we keep reminding each other of when it comes to kids, like I think John said it, you want to raise a great adult. You're not raising the best 11-year-old, and you're not raising like the most popular, 8-year-old or whatever it is. Like, you're raising them to be a great adult. And I think that all 100% is the values that you have and that you believe in. And it's not easy. And even as an adult, I feel like, but I think that's why, like, I told Adam, I feel like Tennessee has such great energy to me. I don't know if I was born there and I've always loved the energy, but when we were leaving, I told him, I said, I think it's just because people they have good values and they're just nice. Everybody wants to really help each other. And, I don't know, it's just, but it's funny that you say that because I didn't think about that every person that we heard, I mean, from Chris Tomlin to even Lady A talking about her, Hillary talking about her grandfather and just the values that he taught her that she still has today, even in her music, they all had really strong principles and values.
Well, and it's almost God-centered stuff. If you think about the companies that you gravitate to, you gravitate to companies like John, who's very God-centered, and he doesn't apologize for it. Doesn't make you have to believe that way, but he doesn't apologize for it. Chick-fil-A, Hobby Lobby. I mean, all the companies that you look at and that you really gravitate towards, they have those same values. It's very God-centered. And I think that was a big aha to me, that I think, the farther we let things move away from that, the more we're going to feel like we're just in mud and can't get out of it.
Totally agree. Yeah. I think that's why I loved Bill Haslam so much, because I just love that that's what he was. I just saw one last thing on values that John said, everything rises on leadership values. You can never take the values out of the leadership if that's what you start with. And so I think just getting back to that is such a good, even in our business, of course, with our families, but even just in our businesses.
Yeah, so true. One of the things that I wrote down that I don't think I'd ever heard John say before, but I love it. It says, you are closer to another life than you know. You're closer to another line of living than you know, but or basically, I think about, okay, so let me think about how to say this. So I think about each stage when I have found another level of living than I had before, how great that is.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to take risk and to, like John says, get in over your head. And if you're going to be over your head, go ahead and get way over your head.
Yeah. I love when he said that.
But, because, when we left there and we went and got on the plane, Press said to me, Mom, could you ever imagine that you would be getting on your own plane? And I remember, and I said to him, I said, it's funny you said that, Press, because I literally 10 minutes ago, as we were getting on the plane, I thanked God because there's no way I could have ever imagined that, but being willing to see how close to another form of living and what does that look like and what does that mean, and getting in over my head, that's what you don't know what's on the other side. Just like I think with John's experiences, there's no way John could provide those kind of experiences had he not done a lot of getting in over your head.
Big time.
And then I love that he always says, you want to do things that are so big that God had to have a hand in it, because there's no way you could have done it. Yeah. That's the way I feel about my life.
Yeah,
I feel like, and I don't know why, I don't feel like I deserve it or anything any more than anybody else. But I do think, man, I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I know that being willing to not be afraid or to feel like if I'm on his path and doing it, it's going to be okay. It could have some bumps.
Yeah.
But the truth is, you're just so close to another line of living than you actually know.
Yeah.
You just have to be willing to get in over your head and go ahead and get in way over your head, because that's kind of where he says it's going to take intentional thinking and intentional action.
Yeah, I remember that.
But if you can get those in line with what you feel like God's purpose is for you, I just think that's where the magic happens, really, honestly. Yep. And you can make it all about other people. And you just get up and you just figure out, how do I serve others? Yep. And the rest of it will kind of take care of itself. And I think we've kind of said that before.
Yep. I love that so much. That's a really, really, really good one.
Well, he said, the reason I love teaching success is because people are closer than they think they are.
Okay. Yeah. I do remember him saying that.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm writing that down too. I love when we do this, because you get things that I miss and vice versa. Think they are. Yep. Totally agree. One thing that he said that I felt, something that I continuously struggle with, is not feeling like I have enough time for all of the people that I want to spend time with. And there's not enough time. And I struggle with that constantly. And I love one thing that he said. He actually started talking about this. This is one of the first things he talked about. He said, I don't even know why. I think he was talking about spending time with us. I don't know. I can't remember. But he said, here's the deal. I love you unconditionally, but you have to earn my time. And the way that you earn my time is by producing. Nobody ever built a great company by not producing. And things never happened when people weren't producing. I wrote down, he said, when people know that you really value them, that you don't have to have them, it's a good place to be, because they all of a sudden realize that the reason they're on the team is because they produce, period. The reason that they're on the team is because they continually have success, and you should be proud of that, and they should be proud of that. But when people want to earn your time, it's it's that they do it by producing and by being able to bring value to the situation or be engaged. And I just felt like a little bit of sense of relief when he said that, because, you know, we've always said like, we'll focus on and go deep with the people who engage, or the people who, you know, we want to spend time with, or whatever those things are. But I thought, gosh, that's so true. And it was just the way that he said it was different. And then he went on to say, like, when we're in the mountains of our times, we celebrate, and in the valleys is when we learn. And he said, never look at a person that seems to be doing great and make the mistake that they don't have deep valleys in their lives. In the losses, the return is what does that loss actually make you as a person. And sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And so just really thinking about what you learn out of your losses and being able to kind of set the difference between that. I thought that was good. And of course, when he said, he said this before, but if you live for success, there is a finish line. And if you live for significance, then there never is. And I just think that's like one of the best reminders ever to think about.
I love that. And my thought on the part about his people is, you know, we go to that experience and we just see the end result and we think, good Lord, they must be like magical people to get all this to happen. But he said they don't stop at the first no.
Right.
Like, we don't know if Lady Annabella or Lady A was the third choice.
Yeah.
Instead of the first choice, but they just won't stop. They'll keep asking until they get a yes.
That's right.
I thought that was huge, because I think you see the finished product sometimes and you don't see the valleys of people, and you don't see the persistence, and you don't see the tenacity. Mm-hmm. And you think, well, I could never do that. Well, yes, you could. There's just a few principles. Number one, he said, pray for winners, pray for winners in your life.
So I literally, Heather laughed at me today. I put that in my phone every morning during my prayer time, every day, you can't see it, but it says, pray for winners and the best people to come into my life. And it's on repeat every single day. I'm like, I'm taking that away for sure.
Yeah. It says opportunity comes in invisible, comes with obstacles and difficulty. We keep knocking on all the doors until someone answers.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that so much.
Yeah.
He also said, going back to experience, experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is the best teacher. It's where the return on experience is. You have to reflect and evaluate, or know what happened, to know what it meant at the time, and really going back and having evaluated experience. And I just think that I took a ton of notes around that, because I'm bad at the after part of evaluating or reflecting or any of that stuff. And so going back, I liked how he said 4 questions to ask after an experience. What do I feel? What do I know? What do I think? And now what do I do?
Yeah.
And that's where like layered learning and maturity comes in. I just thought that was just a good reminder.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. Well, there were so many.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Let's each give one more as we wrap up here.
Yep. I'm going to save Donald Miller for the next one, because I have so many for him. It's not even funny.
Yeah, he was a good one. I'm super excited about him. And then I'm super excited about Joel Manby.
Oh yeah.
Who wrote the book, Love Works.
Yep.
And he was he CEO? I never know those titles very well. The CEO of Hirschman Brothers or whatever. Yeah. And they have like 25 amusement parks, Silver Dollar City being one of them.
Yep. Dollywood being another.
Mm-hmm. A bunch of things. He was another one of my favorites, and I'm excited because John has executive coaching, and I signed up to be coached.
Oh, good. Did you? Okay, great. Yeah. And then we also talked to him about being a guest on the podcast. So hopefully we'll go ahead and manifest that and get him as a guest, because he would be awesome.
Yep. I love that. Okay. If you stop loving your people, stop leading them.
Oh, that was my big one from last year.
Yeah. If you stop loving your people, stop leading them.
Yeah.
And then I'll give you one more. In business and in communication, the setup is everything.
Yeah. Loved that one too.
And then one of my other favorites that he said was, mark who you want to meet. I've never done that.
That was going to be the one I was getting ready to say. Yeah.
Well, you can elaborate on that one.
No, I loved it. He said that who luck is the best kind of luck. In other words, who you know is the game changer of your life. And he loves to ask the question, who do you know that I should know? And he said that was the question that's given him the highest return of any other question that he's ever asked people in his life. And then he said, mark the people that you want to meet. He said that they've had a lot to offer him if he could meet them, but he had nothing to offer them. He didn't want to have anything to bring to not have anything to bring to the table. So he said he would always ask himself, what would set me apart? What would cause them to want to meet with me again? How do I qualify when I meet somebody to have a relationship with them? And he said two things. Number one, give them some kind of a tangible gift to show gratitude of their time. It doesn't have to be big for them, but it does have to be big for you. And then the second was come prepared for the meeting. Give them your best preparation on the front end, reflect on the back end, and then come with action, but to actually physically write down and mark the people that you want to meet. And I thought, man, that's good.
Yeah, that's priceless. I think on one of our other episodes, I know we both probably wrote this down, the Be Unforgettable. So let's do this. Let's do the Be Unforgettable. And then let's give, 5 to 10 ideas of how we think as a realtor, you could be unforgettable.
Yeah, love that. That's
awesome. Even as a business owner, it doesn't have to be a realtor because we have business owners too that listen, but how to be unforgettable. Maybe some ideas of what we plan on doing to be unforgettable. That'll hold us accountable to make our list, because you and I write that down every single time.
Yep, and honestly, I think I told you this, but I think unforgettable is going to be my word of the year for 2022. I'm not 100% on it, but I'm like pretty close. And especially after Press is having us read that Yellow Tux book.
Yeah.
There's so many great things in there about being unforgettable. I mean, so many. So that'll be a good one for us to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to mention that earlier because I'm trying to remember who told me about it. I read it and then I bought Press a copy.
Oh, you did read it.
Yeah, because and I listened to this podcast. He has a podcast too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't think it's called Yellow Tux, but you could probably find it. It'll probably be somewhere in the book or talk about it. But I started listening to his podcast, and he started interviewing businesses that kind of had a yellow tux.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. So yeah. I think moving forward, we're going to all have to figure out how to be unforgettable. And one of the ways is to figure out what your yellow tux is.
Totally agree. We put that as our 135s, part of our 135 for our market centers. And it is one of the ways is to implement the Yellow Tux book and come up with 3 new ways that we're going to be unforgettable in 2022 for each of our offices. And that we're actually doing a little retreat around that at the beginning of the year. But I just don't think that that's going to be a choice anymore. I think we're going to have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Remember, if you have not, please hit subscribe below. And the greatest compliment you could give Dana and I is to pass this podcast along to someone that you feel like might benefit from these conversations. And of course, if you haven't, we'd love to have a review for us, and send your questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas or challenges to us at info@everything life and real estate. And Dana, we didn't get to it this time, but we have a great praise that on our next podcast, we need to let people know, because we have people really out there taking action, and I would love to share the praise next time.
Yes. You know what? We should play her video on our, yes, we'll have to do that because that was awesome. It was great.
Yeah. We love hearing your feedback. We love helping you with your challenges and your questions and your opportunities that you have. And so be sure and share those at info@everything life and real estate. So Dana, I will see you actually tomorrow.
Yes, that's right. I will see you tomorrow.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.